Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'd like to show you a little trick for any piece that you have that you're having any difficulty with that will solve the problem very well for you. I almost guarantee it. It involves the metronome, but what you have to do, and what I'm going to do with this piece, Climb Every Mountain, because that's what it's like, climbing a mountain, the struggle on a difficult piece, is to use the metronome, this is mine here, and find the tempo that you don't stumble at. So put that metronome at the slowest tempo that you have to go down to, that you're able to have the time to look at the next note and get over it in time to play with the tick, with the next tick. And then cut it even in half again and make it so micro count. If it's quarters and you're having no trouble with the quarters, micro count it to the eighth. Put the tick to the eighth. So there are 2 ticks on that quarter. And on the second tick, when you're in the keys, take a real grip, like you don't come off the keys, you just grip it, that extra strength, because there's the length of time that you're gripping during that second eighth is vital to not stumbling and to training the muscles so that you feel solid in the keys on that particular spot in the piece. So I'll go through this piece and show you exactly what I mean. I'll leave out the first line, which is just all this. It's just that stuff. But so I'll go right with the melody. But you'll see what I mean about putting the metronome to the eighth when it's playing quarters all the way along. That second eighth often gets cut short because we're anxious to get to the next note. And you're not going to be riding into the groove of the piece. And if you slight that second half of that quarter in any way, even though it's just held from the first eighth. So I'll give it a try, and I think you'll see what I mean. I may stop here or there just to give you an idea of what I mean by that extra hold. Like if I go, I'm going to set it at 69, which is the speed I found that I wasn't stumbling for a quarter, and now I'm going to make that for an eighth, so that that's twice as slow. So if I go 1 and 2, you see that strength, feel of that taking like that on the and. So and I'm hearing it during the length of that and. I'm not just sort of thinking to the next note and getting past it. I'm trying to hear that. So So you see, that second jolt that I do with my finger on the and, where I'm still holding the note from before, it's not just the energy to make that beat happen, but that is a pivot point when I go to play the piece to getting me over to the next main beat. So it's like riding up over a hill. You've got to ride up to it. You can't sort of slip over to it. So when you can hold and anchor that full second eighth, even though it's all held as a quarter straight through, you really ingrain in your mind and in your hands the importance of holding the second eighth of every beat, because it leads you to the next beat. And if you slight it, then you stumble into the next beat too soon and you rush. But this ingrains the notes into your hands as a sequence, so that when you want to come into the piece, like for example, it's all going to feel perfectly in, because you're using that downward strength of the fingers to heave you up over and into the next note, whether it's the first eighth of the beat or the second eighth, held or as a note that's written there. So it's very important to use this analogy, this idea of climbing every mountain for your pieces, as taking every difficult passage. I can work Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2. I can work parts by doing the same thing. Find the shortest notes, put them to the tempo that I can play them steadily, and then set that thing 2 ticks for that one note. And then I'm going to be getting it into my hands correctly and into my ears for the full length, because I'm using that and to heave me into that next beat, and it's not going to be slighted in any way. So then there's the expression, and putting all that into it and so on. So, and the voicing and so on, but in the phrasing. But this will give you the greatest start to learning any piece. And it can be from ABC Book 1, or it can be from an AR piece, an associateship piece. So anything, it works. So I hope you try it. Good luck with it. Have a good night. Bye-bye.